Stephanie from Stephanie Style Co. For those of you that don't already know me, I am a part-time reseller living in the Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area, and I do content on hauls for both clothing and hard goods. I'm doing more and more antiques and hard goods lately, as well as what's sold and tips and tricks for how to do reselling, either part-time or full-time. If you like this kind of content, make sure that you like and subscribe to my videos so you can be the first to know when a new video is up. And I'm working, as always, on being more consistent in my videos, so stay tuned for that. So today I brought you guys a haul. One of my favorite thrift stores, 2nd Ave Thrift, does regular holiday weekend half off sales for all the clothing, and they have some really amazing stuff. So I was trying to make a point to drive. It's a little bit of a drive for me, it's about 20 minutes, and luckily there's a lot of thrift stores nearby, so I don't typically have to go that far to source, but I make a point of driving out to the sale every time that happens. And it just so happened this past weekend was a holiday weekend. So I decided to stop by and I found some really great stuff. So for this, I'm just going to start with showing you the clothing, and then I think I'll do a separate video about hard goods. So this first piece I picked up because it is a brand called Carigdon. It's a Irish brand and it's lamb's wool. It's like this super cool orange knit sweater, lamb's wool. It's an Irish brand. Comps are super good. I've never run into it before, but I tend to pick up things like silk or wool or stuff like that pretty consistently when I see it, especially if the comps are good. So next up I have this. It is a kind of a tweedish fabric, heathered little open front sweater type cardigan, and just super simple. It's like a grayish black with white, and I saw the tag and it's a more vert, which I'd never heard of before, and I decided I was going to look at the care tag, and it said made in the USA, and typically when things are made in the USA, that's kind of an indicator that they could be a good brand. So if you're unsure about something and you're wondering whether or not it's worth the time to look up a comp, definitely look for made in the USA, as well as things like wool and silk, like I mentioned. So I looked this up, and comps are pretty good, in like the $30-ish range, which I only paid half of $7.99, so it was a good, quick little easy thing to get. So this piece, let me hold it up here. So it's a spaghetti strap, it's a bubble dress, and if I can get this untangled. So it is a Tracy Reese bubble dress. You can see the bubble hem here. And it's this really gorgeous navy blue white stripe. And it's got this bodice here, and then it's got zip back. And so I looked this up, and it was actually a Tracy Reese and Anthropologie collaboration. And the comps were kind of hit or miss, but the reason I did pick this up, other than it being half off and being an Anthropologie collab, was it's new with tags. So things that I'm usually on the fence about, if it's new with tags, it tends to go more, so I will invest and make that purchase. And as always, if there's anything you're ever interested in and you don't see it listed, let me know. It takes me a little bit of time because I do this part-time to get some stuff listed in some cases. So if you let me know, I'm happy to pull that out of my inventory and cut you a good deal and ship directly. Next up, we have a Banana Republic Heritage. So you can see right there. And this is like a safari-esque jacket. It's linen, which I know it's not the season for linen, but I could not resist. It's super cool, and I'm in love with these elbow pads here. And I don't typically pick up Banana Republic on the whole. There have been a couple pieces from that Banana Republic Heritage line that do tend to do really well, so I do pick those up when I see them. So this was just one of those. Next up, this is something I'm super excited about. I love Bowden, and I know that resellers have talked about it sells for them, it doesn't sell for them. It sells for me, and it actually sells pretty well. And I'm lucky that I tend to find a lot of Bowden in my area, sort of, and I find a lot of new with tags Bowden, which is exactly what this was. So this is a gorgeous, you can see the pattern here, and really pretty basic dress. Comfortable, lightweight. I just found my boyfriend, I think it's like a teacher's dress, something perfect for that sort of profession where you're moving around a lot and you want comfort. I know that a lot of people are still virtual right now, but it's a really comfy, cozy piece for virtual work as well. And like I said, it is new with tags. So I was really excited about that. And I'll probably get, I'm not exactly sure, I didn't check the comps, but typically around the $30-$40 range. So this is a brand that I've seen a lot of people talk about, and they sell it on like places like Nordstrom Rack, and I think in some cases the normal Nordstrom. It's one state. So I've never picked it up before, I just haven't run into it in good condition, in a good style, but it's like a plain knit, kind of a short dress, gray, just simple and cozy. I do really like this kind of flutter sleeve, so that's why I picked it up. Okay, so this is one of my crazier pieces. I have never picked up a wedding dress before, and I was going through the racks and I saw this dress, and I don't know why, but I just was like, I need to look at this. And so I looked at it, and it's Vera Wang White, which is I think, one of her higher end brands. So I did run the comps on it, and it'll be interesting to see what it gets, because a lot of the ones that were listed were longer. This is a shorter dress, but my thought was, with people that are not being able to have their weddings in places because of the pandemic, they're doing things like, a lot of my friends are getting married in their backyard or at a family home, and because of that they're tending to go for really simple or shorter or more casual dresses, just because you don't want a giant dress that you're like dragging through your backyard. So pick this up, and I was just waiting, looking, because whenever you get white stuff you always have to worry about stains, and I've been known to pick things up and then come home, as I think a lot of resellers have, and find stains all over stuff. So I tried, and who's to say I won't find a stain on it, but I couldn't find anything. So it is Vera Wang White. It is a size 6, and it is ruffle detail. This has a tie that needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Retied, zip back. Super cute. It's like a cream off-white, and as you can see, it's got the Vera Wang White. So, like I said, I've never picked up a wedding dress before. I don't know if I ever will again, but I just was like, okay, I'm gonna try something new. In this season, I'm really trying to try new things. I'm definitely trying to stock up on lots of new with tags items because of Q4 and gifts, but I just figured it's time to try something new. Next up is one of these pieces that I'm really, really excited about, and you've probably heard of this brand before, especially if you're a reseller, and that is And Other Stories. So this, again, new with tags. I was really, really lucky finding a lot of new with tags this day. And it's got a tie front here. This camera isn't picking up this gorgeous, it's like a chambray blue color. And button front and tie. Just a very simple, I feel like you could put this with a blazer or cardigan or something like that. And I know that there's a range of different prices that these dresses retail for. This one only retailed for $85, but I just thought it was new with tags. I really like this brand. I've only very rarely found it, and the last time I found it, I think it was stained. So I'm gonna pick that up. Next up is another area where I'm starting to branch out more, and that is sleepwear and kind of that whole lingerie-ish type of stuff. So I've mainly been picking up Victoria's Secret Gold Label, and it's actually been a really consistent seller for me. It's got a really good sell-through rate for me, and it goes for a decent amount. So I'll pick that sort of stuff up whenever I see it. But this is Soma. See here, and it's just a casual night dress, and comps are in the range of like 30 to 38. So I was pleasantly surprised about that. I've picked up a couple of Soma pieces in my life, but just thought I'd give it a try. Another thing that I'm trying to do more of, and that's reflected in this piece, is pick up plus sizes. I am plus size myself, and I definitely think that there isn't as much choice out there on Poshmark and maybe some other sites for plus size as I would like to see, and I know that I'm guilty of not necessarily always trying to get bigger sizes, so I've made a conscious effort to do more of that. So I'm picking up a lot more Lane Bryant and things like that than I used to, and especially if it's Lane Bryant with new with tags. So really like this piece. It is, as I said, Lane Bryant, and it is new with tag, and it's a 26-28, I think, and it's just this really nice soft floral blouse, very drapey. It's got really nice sleeves. So I picked that up. I think that's the bell sleeve. That's the name for that. Next up, I've been getting less and less J. Crew lately. I feel like when I first started reselling over a year ago now, that it was a really good seller for me. It sold very quickly, it sold for a good price, and I feel like a lot of other resellers are talking about how it isn't doing as well for them anymore, and I've definitely seen that as well. So I'm not picking up any more J. Crew factory whenever I can avoid it, unless it's like, there's always exceptions. But this is a J. Crew piece, and it is wool, it's lamb's wool, and I really liked the sparkles. Just gives it something that stands out a little bit more than some of their other sweaters. And it's like a nice beige. It's in really good condition. So I thought I'd give that a try and pick that up. I will say J. Crew blazers have done really well for me and continue to do well for me. And I do pick up things like jeans or things that are new with tags, but I am definitely moving away from things, especially J. Crew factory. But this, I think, is an older tag, Free People. You guys tell me. Yeah, so I think it's an older tag, but I really liked how dainty it was. It's very delicate. You can see it's got this really pretty pattern. It's got kind of a metallic thread in it. If you hear any noise in the background, that is my dogs on the couch. And it's just a super cute, basic, semi-mini dress. And I know a lot of their stuff tends to be boho and oversized, and I sell a lot of Free People, and that tends to be what sells. But I thought this was super cute and thought I'd give it a try, especially for half off. I feel like with the half off sales, I'm willing to take a lot more risks. And that's why you'll see things like wedding dresses and some of the other stuff that I'm about to show you later. This is another Free People dress. This is more of a, I think more, again, vintage style, maybe Y2K. Or maybe it's new, you guys can tell me. That's the tag, and it's this very casual, comfortable, kind of a rib fabric dress, and it's very neutral, really simple. Next up, I picked up the 7 for All Mankind jeans. I do sell 7 for Mankind jeans and True Religion jeans really consistently, I would say. And with this brand in particular, with 7 for All Mankind, I typically only sell the 8-pocket or the dojo jean. And so this is an 8-pocket. I've sold different washes of the 8-pocket and dojo, and they typically do pretty well for me in the $25 to $30 range, sometimes a little higher. Adriana Goldschmied is also a pretty consistent seller for me. But this is a medium to light wash 8-pocket jean. It's in really good shape. And one thing with jeans that you definitely want to check, especially if you're a new reseller, because I've made this mistake, is check the crotch and make sure it's not worn. Because when you're looking through and you're really excited and you found the label, you tend to look for wear here, but not wear here. So just a reseller tip that you always want to make sure that you look in the crotch area, because that tends to be one of the areas that tends to wear down the quickest. Next up, I have these American Eagle jeans. I know a lot of resellers that I watch, like Lori Tata and Jack Valentine, they talk about American Eagle and how they don't necessarily pick it up for the brand per se, but it does seem to be a consistent and decent seller. And I also I recently had a conversation with someone at one of our consignment Plato's Closet stores, and they said that their #1 selling brand for jeans is American Eagle, and that they're picking it up and that they'll take it. So I've been thinking more about branching out and doing consignment, so trying to figure out styles and things that will go in places like Plato's Closet. So I found this, and it is American Eagle, and it is, again, new with tag. So it's the slim boot cut, which I actually have seen an increase in the amount of boot cut and straight cut jeans that I've been selling versus like the skinny. Not so much the flare, but in some cases the flare. So I feel a little more comfortable. I know for a while there when I first started reselling, boot cut was dead, and now it seems to be making kind of a resurgence. So you can see it's a darker wash, and it's in great condition. Next up, this one was a gamble. The brand is really good. If you find DL 1961 for a reasonable price, I definitely recommend you get it. Always check comps, but it typically does really well. I know that patterned and colored jeans that aren't like a neutral color tend to not do as well right now. And these, as you can see, are like a bright, kind of a corally pink. And I looked, again, everywhere for stains, didn't find any. But I thought half price, it's really cute. And then it's also got the raw hem, which has been doing really, really well for me across the board on all these different jeans that I've been selling on Poshmark and eBay and sites like that. So one more pair of jeans, and then I'm going to show you two of the kind of crazy out of the box things I found in addition to that wedding dress. And these are True Religion jeans. Like I said, these and 7 for All Mankind tend to sell really well for me consistently. And the thing that stuck out to me, in addition to this really cool yellow button, is the yellow threading on this U-pocket. So the U-pocket is a classic. If you find it with the U-pocket, it tends to be worth more. It's not always foolproof, and with these, I find that you really have to check the bottom because they tend to wear, or a lot of the ones that I find are in otherwise good condition, but these tend to wear, and sometimes that's not a killer because distressed jeans are still in, but I tend not to pick them up. But I love that U in that bright neon pop of color there. Okay, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab those 2 items. Okay, and we're back. So I'm gonna show you the last 2 pieces from my haul from this weekend, and they're both coats. And I've been watching a lot of this YouTube channel called The Recycled Life. It's Laura and Selena, these 2 women in their 30s that live on the West Coast, a whole country away from me actually, on the other coast because I'm over on the East Coast. And they are full-time resellers, and they do a lot of hard goods and vintage, and so they've definitely opened my eyes to a lot of different things about vintage and home goods. And so I've started to look more for vintage pieces. It's not really something that's made up a bulk of my business because I don't feel super competent in that area. And especially as a plus size person, I feel like there aren't a lot of vintage options. So I've tended to kind of shy away from that and go for things that are newer, more modern styles. So these 2 are the exception. And I will say one of them is I'll show you first actually. It is, and they definitely have the vintage smell. So bear with me. It is a Jacques Saint Laurent, which at first I thought, oh my god, it's Yves Saint Laurent, and I lost my mind. That is not. It is a vintage, and I cannot tell because I cannot find the care tag, fur coat, authentic fur. It's got a beautiful, and it doesn't really show as well as it should, but it's like a peachy, kind of corally, what I think is silk lining, and it's gorgeous. It's in great shape. Gonna do my best to get that vintage smell out of it without hurting it in any way. And so this is real fur. I was telling my boyfriend about this when I shared my haul with him earlier. I don't wear fur. I'm not pro fur or hurting animals for clothing and that sort of thing. So I try to tend to steer away from things like leather and tend to go for things more like vegan leather or faux fur. I think that vintage is different, and I think that that's the one exception where I would pick up fur. And so you'll see that with this piece. The next one is not fur, it's simulation fur, but it looks like fur. But yeah, so if you do not like fur, I do not blame you. Please do not send me hate in the comments. I'm not pro fur, but I saw this. I did not want it to go to landfill, and I wanted it to go to a forever home where it would be cared for and loved because it is an existing piece. And comps for this were really hit or miss. There were some that were in the range of like $50 to $60, and there were some that were hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So I need to do a little bit more research on this one. So I'm excited to show you this last piece. So I will just hold it up and then do a little bit of explanation. So it is a simulation fur coat. It's got these gorgeous little buttons. And it is vintage. And it is from Oleg Cassini. Let's see there. So for those of you that don't know, Oleg Cassini is a really classic designer. Some of his stuff, I think that there still exists today. I've looked up some more of their contemporary items that don't really hold the same value the way that the vintage does. Oleg Cassini actually did a lot of the design for Jackie Kennedy's clothing back when she was the first lady. So just a little factotum there. And what really stood out to me, other than it's really cute and a very like nice neutral color, it's very warm, and it's not, again, real fur, which is good, is that it is new with tags. I couldn't believe it. Like, this coat has to at least be from, I would say, the early to mid 60s, and it far predates me being alive. And that's one of the cool things about vintage, but you see vintage and you don't usually see new with tags. So, I mean, it does certainly happen, but I've not really run into any of it. But it's just so cool to be able to see, and I'll show you a little bit better, the original tag for the store that it was sold at, and then it actually has the item tag here, and then actually it has a explanation of the simulation fur, and it goes into detail about the piece, which I just thought was super cool. Again, didn't want this to end up in a landfill. I think it's really neat. It's a piece of history, and I just love that it was made with tags, so I wanted to make sure that that went to a good home. So like I said, that is the haul that I got this past weekend from the half off sale at one of my favorite thrift stores, and I'm really excited about it. I did get some home good pieces, the hard goods, and I think I'm gonna get a separate video together to share those with you, just so I can keep those separate. And then maybe eventually I'll combine them, but I think for now I'm gonna keep them because I've been so much in the clothing space, and the hard goods and antiques are very new for me, that I'm gonna keep those separate for now. Like I said before, like and subscribe if you liked this content. If there's anything that you saw in this haul or anything that you've seen online, feel free to message me and we can do a direct sale. But otherwise, I look forward to bringing you more videos.